Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with you and with Fern Basinski from Pregnancy Choices. Good morning.
Good morning, Susie.
And you've got just your own thing going on with Pregnancy Choices, don't you? When we talk about all of the services that they offer, yours is very unique. You are talking with a person who is overcoming grief for choices perhaps that they've made in the past. Let's talk a little bit about your area there.
Well, we are a reconciliation, portion recovery and reconciliation, and we are very interested in helping the woman who has, like you said, made those wrong choices in life. Perhaps it was a past abortion. Perhaps it was some poor sexual choices. Or maybe just a grief issue, maybe something that really wasn't even her fault or a choice that she made, but someone who made a choice against her. And we're very, very concerned to see women healed in those areas.
Are we talking about a lot of women, Fern, that are carrying around these kinds of hurts with them?
When it comes to the post-abortive woman, the woman who has experienced abortion, the statistics vary on that, but I would say anywhere between 4 to 6 women. 4 and 6 women have experienced abortion.
What?
Yes, the statistics are very high, and they do vary. Some will say 1 in 3, some will say 1 in 6, but I find it to be anywhere between 4 and 6.
Oh my goodness. So if we're talking about like in our church congregation, that lady sitting next to you on either side, very, very truly might be hurting deep inside and holding this kind of a secret inside them for years. Is that what you're finding?
Well, yes, that's not only what I'm finding, but that's who I was. For from 1981 to 1998, when I myself found a healing group, that was me. I was sitting in church, terrified that someone would find out about my secret, and every time a pro-life speaker would come to the church, I would have to leave the sanctuary out of shame, or that someone would see the shame on me. So yes, they are the women sitting next to you in church, and they are your sisters and your mothers and your grandmothers and your best friends.
How comforting is it to a woman who comes into one of your Bible studies or one of your groups for healing and have you share that automatically they must feel like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. How can this sweet lady that I'm looking at possibly be going through have gone through what I am going through? Do you get like reactions of shock and surprise?
Every time.
Yeah.
I had one young lady who came to talk to me, and she told me after an 8-week group, she said, the first time I met you, I came in, and the first thing I thought was, what does this lady have to tell me? What does she know about my experiences? And she said, after I shared my story, she was absolutely shocked. Plus, the walls came down. Right. And that's exactly what happens. You know, when one person is courageous enough to share their past, it really helps other women to feel that they're safe and that they can share too.
That's right.
And that's exactly what happened to me. I heard a woman share about her abortion after almost 30 years of secrecy. I heard a woman share, and I thought, wow, I want to be able to do that, but I knew first I needed healing.
There's really something to how it hangs on, isn't there? I can remember years and years, oh my gosh, I'd been a long time married with children, got a call out of the blue from a friend out of my past who just had to call and tell me that she had gone through this. And she just needed to tell somebody and get it off of her mind. And I guess she thought I would not be judgmental about it. And of course, I mean, nobody has appointed me judge of anyone. But she knew she could talk to me about it. But I thought, how amazing that many years later, that was on her mind and she needed to pick up a phone and make a call. And then how wonderful to know that there are groups that you can go to and participate in and be just hugged.
Yes.
Tell me about the different groups that you have. You use a variety of materials. You've written a couple of them. Let's talk about each one of those.
Okay. Portraits, Unveiled Freedom is our post-abortion Bible study. And it takes a woman back to her experience, how the pregnancy occurred, how the decision was made, how she felt about the decision. It helps uncover some of the things that she's kept secret for so long, but also uncover some of the memories that she's buried. And it's very important that she remembers the experience and really works through the fact that she didn't make that decision in a vacuum, that there were circumstances and there were influences in her life. And so that helps relieve some of that guilt and some of that shame. Not that it negates the fact that she takes responsibility, ultimate responsibility for that choice, but to help her understand that there were factors that influenced her and that put her in that crisis situation.
Let me stop you right there for a second. Take responsibility, but what if a person just was flat out lied to? What if they were told, that's not a baby? At this point, that is a clump of cells, and we can take care of that for you. And she totally believed what was being told to her. Is that person feeling guilt and responsibility for that because she was lied to?
Well, I can relate to that because that was me as well. Okay. Because my abortions, 2 of them were back in the early 70s, and that's exactly what they told us. We did not have ultrasounds, and we did not have embryology charts. I did have 2 living children at the time. I was a single mom. And yes, that's what they told me, and I did believe it. However, as technology improved and as I became educated in life in the womb and conception in the womb, I began to realize what really happened. And that's when the shame and the guilt and the grief and the regret and all that really begin to hit me. And that's why a lot of women don't feel it until many years later, because we do believe that lie and we continue to stay in that denial. But sooner or later, that will catch up with a woman.
Technology has come a long, long way. Do you find that maybe more women, after they see that ultrasound, think, oh, I can't end this life. That's a life. I can't end this life. Does ultrasound make a difference?
It makes a huge difference. I don't know exactly what the statistics are, but I think they may be somewhere in the 80s.
Wow.
Where when a woman sees the beating heart, she will change. If she's been abortion-minded, she will change her mind after an ultrasound. And that's one of the reasons that Focus on the Family has been so generous in giving us a large portion of support toward our ultrasounds, because they firmly believe in the difference that it makes.
One thing that's wonderful is that Pregnancy Choices is a medical clinic,
Yes.
4 different locations, and they hold medical clinic at, I believe, all of them
Yes.
now. And yes, they can have an ultrasound and they can see that little life beating in
It's
there.
not a blob of tissue,
not a blob
it's a
of
baby.
Yes. So let's talk more about your story then, because that you received healing yourself. You wanted to help others. Is that when you decided to write a book?
No, I actually began I went through my own healing group in 1998 at Pregnancy Choices. And 1999, I began facilitating groups. And I facilitated for many years until 2005. And that's when I began the book. No, I'm sorry. Began the book in 2009.
Wow.
And it really wasn't published until about 3 years later. So, no, it was a long process to get to that book. And I was using a wonderful Bible study by Linda Cochran, Forgiven and Set Free. And many, many women, including myself, were healed through that Bible study. The reason I wanted to write a Bible study was I just had so many stories that had come through the House of Hope. And I just wanted to share those stories with the permission of the clients, without using their names. I just wanted to share some of my own experiences. And I wanted to write something just a little different. And I love to write, so I did that.
House of Hope, you mentioned. That's an undisclosed location where people can come for these groups and for Bible study. I've got to say, it is so inviting and warm and welcoming. You've really created a beautiful environment there. Talk about it a little bit.
Thanks, Susie. Yeah, the House of Hope was, well, I can't say where it is, but a church donated a parsonage that they were no longer using, and put the money in, and we raised money through golf outings and fundraisers, and completely gutted the house and rebuilt it to our specifications. And it's donated, and it's wonderful, and we have a wonderful relationship with that particular church.
When people want to participate in one of these healing groups, does it have to be a group? What if you want to just talk to one person? What if you're not comfortable sharing your story in front of half dozen other people.
Mm-hmm. Well, a big part of the healing is sharing it with others.
Okay.
That's a big part. I remember the first night that I showed up at my healing group, I had never shared my secret with anyone except my husband. So no one knew but the father of the child, and it had been many years ago, but no one really knew. It was my secret. And just that first night in that group around that table, in a safe place with women who understood, I believe I had 80% of my healing just getting that secret out. So the group dynamics are very important. I've done a few one-on-ones in emergency cases, and they've really been critical emergency cases where they didn't have time to wait for a group, or one woman who just was so traumatized she could not go in a group. But I strongly recommend the group dynamics because it's just really powerful how the women bond and how they share that shared experience, how they can feel for each other and understand their feelings.
You're always quick to point out that these are not licensed counselors that the people are talking to, that if they're looking for a licensed counselor, then that's who they need to seek out. But this is a Bible study where healing has been known to take place.
That's correct.
Lots of success.
Yes, because our facilitators are very well trained. It takes at least a year to put a woman through what she needs to be trained to be able to really facilitate the groups. And then even after her training, she does not facilitate alone for a while. She facilitates with an experienced facilitator. So we're really trained our women because we want them to facilitate with excellence, because the women who come to us are just too precious and too dear to take any kind of chances.
Oh my goodness, yes, because you're deeping into deep emotional trauma, and that's important. Talking about training, you've got something coming up, Hope for Deeper Healing. What is that?
Hope for Deeper Healing is it's a biblical healing Bible study facilitator training, and it's 2.5 days. The dates are May 9th through the 11th. And it's our 4th annual, and it's been very successful in the past, so we just keep having it because women are asking for it. And who's invited? Who's invited is any woman who feels that she would be called to healing Bible studies, and wherever she is, in a center, in a church, wherever her ministry might be. And we send invitations out to all the surrounding states, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and women come. We've had one come from Louisiana one year, and we had one from Texas last year.
Wow.
So the need is there, and as long as the need is there and they'll come, we're going to have them. And it's a wonderful, amazing, it's more like a retreat, Susie, because we just have so many wonderful surprises for them, and just beautiful music and dancers, and plus the excellent training that they get in how to facilitate a biblical healing Bible study.
Now, would they take then these same materials that you use and take them back to their own churches in Texas or Louisiana or wherever they're from? They would be facilitating the same things that take place at House of Hope, but not at House of Hope. Am I hearing this right?
Yes, they can take our books back and use them, but they don't have to.
Okay.
The training that they get as facilitators is facilitator training. They can use any book, any Bible studies they want. But we do go through all of our Bible studies with them and introduce them to them chapter by chapter. So they can purchase our books and take them back to their center, or they can use what they're currently using or any other study. So the other book that we present is Refuge.
Yes.
And that Bible study is for grief issues. And that would cover any other kind of grief other than abortion. It would include miscarriage, pregnancy loss, infant loss, divorce, financial loss, loss of a dream, loss of innocence in childhood, domestic violence abuse from your past, anything that would cause a woman to feel stuck in her emotions and not able to move forward or get over something. And that's Refuge, my safe place, grief recovery.
Who doesn't experience grief in one of those areas at some time or other? We all would go through significant loss of something or other in life. So you're talking about Refuge is really for everyone.
It is for everyone. It truly is. And we do have a waiting list. Refuge is one of our most popular groups, simply because what you said, every woman can relate to something in that book. And the book is just a great Bible study. It's just a good Bible study to learn about God and who He is, and does He care about my pain, and why do these things happen in life? And the big questions are not all answered, but really looking into the character of God and who He is, and can I trust Him with my pain? Can I really go to Him with my pain? Does He understand? So it's just a great Bible study for anyone.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking with Fern Basinski from Pregnancy Choices, talking about hope for deeper healing. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.